Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you for joining me today in this nearly summer, late spring. And I wanted to put out something to talk about my experience with Warhammer 40,000 as a game. A little bit of background. I've been a Warhammer fan since I was like 16 or so, with Dawn of War Dark Crusade, but I couldn't play the tabletop. One, because I was dirt poor, kind of dirt poor, but two, nobody around me played the game, tabletop game, and three, I wasn't really interested in painting things, but that's neither here nor there. What I want to discuss today, though, is uh the fact, basically, the fact that rules as written and the spirit of the game for Warhammer are not the same thing. And I feel like a game that is well written and well tested should have those two things as one and the same. Meaning that I shouldn't have to worry if my opponent is going to bring some cheesy list of units and blast me off the table in the first turn. Um, so I just want to pull this up here. So this here is a shitty mock-up of a 1,000 point game that I played at my local game store. We were not using, quote unquote, official terrain layouts or anything like that. We were just using store provided terrain. And this is basically what it's like. So up here is my opponent at the top, and he's got his tank commander, two Leman Rust tanks, one Basilisk, one Hellhound, and one squad of Catachan fighters. Right, so he's got the wrong color. He's got his tank commander here, couple Leman Rust tanks right here. There's his Hellhound, the Basilisk, and the Jungle Fighters right here. And on my side of the table, I've got an Infernal Master, the Sorcerer, Terminator Sorcerer, one squad of Zangors, 10 Zangors, two squads of 5 Rubric Marines, a squad of 5 Terminators, and a Mutalith Vortex Beast. So the Terminators and their Sorcerer are off the board in Deep Strike. This is my infantry, and that's my big beastie boy. Um, and already we've run into a problem that I seem to have with this game. See, I had been deluded into thinking that balanced list building was the norm because I had participated in an escalation league, and all through the escalation league was, you had your units at the start and you build up from there. You didn't just pick a bunch of stuff from a list and go with that. So when I asked for a friendly 1,000 point game, I was met with this, and my problem here is that when you look at my list, right? I've got light infantry. I've got 2 squads of regular infantry. I've got a squad of heavy infantry and a big beast. I think it's relatively balanced internally. It's very hero heavy, of course, because we're playing Thousand Suns, and that's just the reality of it. You play Hero Hammer when you play Thousand Suns. But over here, it's all tanks and 1 squad of infantry. That's not a very balanced list at all, is it? That's it looks goofy. It looks goofy on the table, and it's not fun to play against and particularly for a second reason that I'll get into, which was these 2 ruins right here, these terrain pieces. I can't remember if they were ruins or sealed buildings, but the way here, let's say issue God. Issue 1 list building. You shouldn't. I don't think you should be able to take just nothing but vehicles or nothing but monsters and be able to get away with that. It skews the list heavily, and moreover, it's like if your opponent didn't just bring a bunch of anti-tank weapons, you're fucked. Or rather, if you didn't bring the anti-tank weapons, you're fucked. And there's just no possibility of you winning. Issue 2. Movement. So, what happened here was he moves his tanks. Sorry, that one did. So his tank is here. The tank commander moves there. And then the Russes move on top of this building. And they can do that because it's 3 inches tall. Now, I don't conceptualize a game in such a way, a game like this anyway, because if you have the terrain piece right here, the Lehman Russ is like nearly as tall, and squaring the circle of it driving up here and parking is like, what are you doing? It doesn't make any sense. And I think this goes back to a problem with a video that I saw recently titled "The Board Gamification of War Games," and I think that's where this sort of thing comes from, where you're just going, whoop, and now your tank has somehow driven on top of a building that's as tall, if not slightly taller than it. I just don't think that's a thing that should really happen. Not in a war game, anyway. Issue 3. This is gonna be spicy. Right? Ready for this? Color text, go away. Issue 3. I go, you go. Is outdated. Games Workshop gets this very right in Kill Team with alternating activations. This game makes it painful because you can blow your opponent off the board turn one with just like bad deployment, and it's not cool. It's not fun. It's not even fun to watch, honestly. And you have 3 tanks that just roll up. One goes around, which is fine, and then the other 2 drive on top of a building, and they can shoot, right, like this here, right? They can shoot right here, and the cover bonus is that they get 1 less AP. That's an issue with game mechanics in and of itself. I won't get into that here. This is just about like the core game itself. And this particular thing right here, the movement, really incensed me. And it got me thinking that if, say, this were an alternating activations game, you could have a tank, you know, it rolls out, shoots the beast, does damage, right? And then the beast can be activated and then move to cover and shoot back. And then the opponent maneuvers around and does the things, and suddenly the game becomes a back and forth. There's a lot of interaction. There's no, oh, half your army is gone because bullshit rule. That just doesn't happen with a system like this. And maybe some of you might say, well, you know, Grimdark Future does alternating activations, and yes, it does. But it's slightly too simple for me to really sink my teeth into. And I think with that, in the coming weeks, I want to sort of try and conceptualize how 40K could be changed for the better with as little changes, the least number of changes possible, so that we're not running into situations where you spend time, you roll to go first, you deploy, or rather you roll attack defender, you deploy, roll to go first, your opponent's first turn goes, and then you're fucked because you lost your only unit that could possibly do anything. And you were able to lose your only unit that could possibly do anything because your opponent is allowed to just, there's no restrictions on list building. There's just, you can take up to 6 of a battle line unit, and then just you can do whatever the fuck else you want. And it's weird. It makes the game itself feel very weird to me. And I want to try to find a better way to do this. So I hope that you will join me on this journey as I sort of conceptualize a new 40K. And we'll see how far we can go with it. But until then, thank you for listening to me ramble, and I'll catch you on the next one.